Can I have a motion to resume public session? Ms. Littlewood? Ms. Davis? All in favor? We now resume public session. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have a lot of Disney families with us tonight, so we're very excited to see you all, and thank you for taking this time out of your evening to be here and share your children with us. We are going to begin tonight with our GC Pride Awards.
And the Gates Chili Board of Education. My name's Dr. Zanowski. This is Mr. Tavalaris, and we're the proud principals of Walt Disney Elementary School. At this time, hey, Dragons who are getting an award tonight, do you want to join me at the podium? Come on up. Come on up. And why don't you guys stand right here so everybody can see you? And turn this way so the board can see you. Thank you, friends. Thank you. All right, so I would like to recognize all the students who are standing before you today for their outstanding contributions to our school community. These students, in addition to demonstrating the Spartan way every single day, embody the character traits of leadership, advocacy, and being a positive role model for everybody in our school. Some of our students' incredible accomplishments, I cannot list them all right now, but some of them are creating new club and event opportunities at our school, going out of their way to include, literally give a voice to, and stand up for all members of our school community, and doing everything that they can each and every day to make Walt Disney Elementary a safe and comfortable place to learn. And when I say everyone, I mean guests, volunteers, students, staff, and everybody. So at this time, please join me in congratulating the students who stand in front of you today. Can you give a wave when I say your name? Mia Holmes, Maya Lee Webb, Josiah Thompson, Savannah Major, Amaya Lawhorn, Elijah Kilmer, and Cameron Gage. Congratulations. All right, I know we have a request for photos too, so we'll move over.
Yes, you're going to move to the sides. You have the really cool Gates Chili banner behind you guys, okay? Thank you guys, and congratulations.
Over and take pictures too?
Yep, go ahead if you guys want to follow your principal over this way. Your families are more than welcome to get up and come take pictures of you. All right, again, we wanted to congratulate you guys. Thank you so much. Do we have any agenda changes, Mr. Daly?
Yes, we have a couple of changes to actions and in personnel.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we now have board president's comments. And once again, I wanted to thank all of our Disney families and staff for being here. Your children did a really, really great job being well-spoken, sharing their thoughts and feelings on their school experience, and advocating for themselves and others. So we really appreciated that time. We have now entered officially the spring season in Rochester, as you can tell by snow one day and 50 degrees the next, which makes it always interesting, making sure we're all paying attention as we plan recess time and spring sports, which are now underway. But it's good that way. We're never going to get bored that way. Make sure we're excited and paying attention. We are also getting to the point of closing out Music in Our Schools month. We've had so many different concerts, different shows and productions throughout all of our schools, and some of them even bringing different buildings in the district together. So that's been wonderful to see all of our staff and our families and our kids. There's tonight going on at the middle school, an art show, and at Brasser there's a literacy night, so it is not getting any less busy for opportunities to support our kids in our community. We also had an Eclipse Fun Fest this week as we're preparing for that event coming up and adding that to our learning and part of our community. The last thing I wanted to take a moment just to make sure we touch on is the fact that break is coming up. And like we talk about any break or big change coming up, for some families and some kids, that's super exciting, and for others, it's a little stressful. So just making sure we're aware of the people around us and supports that people may need, whether it's supports talking about how excited they are, or if they're a little stressed because their schedule may be not their normal routine. And as we are getting closer and closer to that break, recognizing all the different religious and cultural holidays and holy days and events that take place this time of year, and how wonderful it is that we have so many people within our community that celebrate in different ways, so we're able to learn from each other and support each other. That moves us on now to points of interest. Do we have any points of interest, Ms. Kais?
This past Friday night, I attended the Addams Family at the High School Performing Arts Center here. Outstanding show. I didn't realize how funny it was. It was a very funny show. Nice to see our student talent on display, and the auditorium was pretty full. So it was well attended and well enjoyed.
Thank you. Any other points of interest? Ms. Davis?
Two things. I just was able to pop over to the middle school art show for a few minutes. Great turnout, as usual. I was talking to Mrs. Kukuzi, and she was always surprised, not surprised, I guess, but pleasantly surprised with how many people attend. She said we're expecting 500 to 600 people tonight for that. So great turnout and amazing display of art by our middle school artists. And then the other thing I want to just briefly mention is the code of conduct that we're working to rewrite. We're making great progress with that. And there will be a community conversation about that on Thursday, May 2nd, right here in the PLC for everyone to come learn about it. But we're wrapping up work on that and hoping to move forward.
Thank you. Any other points of interest? Dr. Richards?
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to wrap up with the board finishing off our book study. Every year we do a book study in conjunction with or partnering or mirroring the administration of the district. And just to say that we had an exciting, actually very productive conversation doing the restorative journey. And Dr. Muhammad was here recently at Superintendent's Conference Day, and needless to say, we kind of feel like we wish we would have been here after reading the book. But just to know that the board and the district leadership are definitely walking step in partnership to continue to do what's best for Gates Child Life families.
Thank you. Any other points of interest? All right, that moves us forward to reports of meetings. Do we have any meetings in the past couple weeks? No? All right, that moves us on to visitor comments. The Gates Child Life Central School District Board of Education invites public comment at this time. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We ask that individuals state their name and their address prior to comments, and utilize the podium and microphone to address the board. Although the board will not respond directly to individual comments at this time, items brought to the attention of the board may be taken under consideration for future response or action. In order to comply with the laws related to confidentiality, we ask that issues related to specific school district personnel or students be brought to the attention of the superintendent of schools privately. The board reserves the right to terminate a speaker's comments if his or her comments are in excess of 3 minutes, are repetitive, or are not appropriate to discuss in a public forum. We have one visitor comment tonight. We have Amaya Lawhorn. Did I say it right? All right, so you get to come on up. See if we can make the microphone, Ms. Brown's gonna come help you. So that way it can reach and pick up your voice, okay? Welcome.
Right in here? Oh.
Okay. So you're gonna tell us your name and then whatever it is you wanna share, okay? Okay.
Emaya Longhorn, and I appreciate this opportunity to be up here and speaking, and thank you. And yeah, that's all.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for speaking.
All right. Good job.
Amaya, thank you for all of your work tonight and for communicating with us. We appreciate it. All right, that moves us on to our Walt Disney update.
All right. Good evening, President Coffey, Vice President Richards, Superintendent Daly, and the Gates Chi Board of Education. My name is Dr. Zanowski, and I am, again, the proud principal of Walt Disney Elementary School. Thank you so much for affording us the time and creating a space for my team and I to share some of the awesome work occurring within our school community. I'd like to first start by acknowledging the presence of an incredible team of educators in the room with us this evening. At this time, would our teammates at Walt Disney who directly support our 611 special education program stand to be recognized? In attendance this evening, we have Mrs. Carrie Martin, special education teacher, Miss Ashley O'Hare, a classroom aide, Miss Alice Van Zyl, a classroom aide, Mr. Max Eckerson, a special education teacher, Mrs. Cindy Wilson, a special education teacher, and Dr. Catherine Taylor, a physical therapist. Co-presenting with me this evening, we have Mr. Adam Mattice, District Autism Consultant, Mrs. Maria Bronded, Speech Language Pathologist, Miss Megan Stevens, Speech Language Pathologist, Miss Amy General, Special Education Teacher, Miss Alicia Steves, Occupational Therapist, and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Tavaleris, the Assistant Principal at Walt Disney Elementary. Tonight, our team would like to share with you some of the awesome work occurring within our school community. Specifically, we would like to highlight the systems of support that we are building and implementing together to promote a sense of excellence and belonging throughout our entire building. In the slides to come, we will share with you the historical context of our 611 special education program. We will celebrate our team's mid-year accomplishments, and we will articulate how we plan to capitalize on the momentum this team behind me has created in the years to come.
As the district goals focus on creating a welcoming and affirming environment, at Walt Disney Elementary School, we have created 3 pillars to guide our work for our building improvement plan. One of those pillars is equity, diversity, inclusion, and restorative practices. This pillar covers many different aspects of practices at Walt Disney Elementary School, but in particular this year, specific action steps related to the 6-1 program were identified in our school's annual improvement plan. As Dr. Zanowski mentioned, we will highlight the mid-year accomplishments of that program. The picture on the right represents an initiative during last year's Neurodiversity Awareness Week, where all students and staff added facts they learned about autism to a building-wide mural of the symbol representing neurodiversity. This type of project shows the full integration of the 611 program into our building culture, which occurs every day at Walt Disney Elementary School.
The 611 program was founded in 2018. The first year, there were 4 primary students, 3 classroom aides, and 1 special education teacher. The related services team consisted of 3 therapists providing speech, occupational, and physical therapies. The program serves predominantly autistic students with significant speech, language, sensory, and motor delays. This year, enrollment increased to 24 students, and a fourth classroom was added to our school community.
Even though our 611 program is the most restrictive setting of student-teacher to ratio approved by New York State, it is the least restrictive environment for our students and our learners. This year, we've expanded our team at Disney. We have staffed with 4 special education teachers, 6 therapy providers, 14 related professionals or SRPs or teacher aides, an in-district autism and behavioral consultant. In addition to our GC staff, we utilize the supports of Dr. Allison Jordan through U of R Behavioral Pediatrics, and Dr. Danielle Morris, private child psychologist, consults with our program as well. Our program is based out of the University of North Carolina. For those of you that know, the Teach Autism program is near and dear to my heart, but it is a framework for teaching. We utilize the principles in our work every day with our students, and the Teach Autism program utilizes physical structure, visual schedules, work systems, and communication supports to teach our students with autism. Most of the teachers have utilized consultation through the U of R program, Modular Approach for Autism Programming in Our Schools, or the MAPS program. As we know, our students with autism are most successful when they participate in individually designed instruction. We have also accessed SUNY Brockport and have worked with them throughout the year to provide swim and gym experiences located at the college. This program is in the 6th year here at GC.
I have the pleasure of showing you a look into our 611 program. As you can see, our students' daily schedules all follow routine specials. All of our special area teachers have created and followed adapted curriculum to meet the individual needs of our 611 students, ensuring successful participation in gym, music, art, and library. In addition to specials, our students participate in whole group instruction and individualized instruction to meet their own targeted goals. Push-in and pull-out therapies are completed throughout the day. This may include occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and music therapy.
We have created a strong sense of team through multiple professional learning opportunities throughout the school year. One really exciting new structure we added this year is team meeting as a whole 611 program every other week to collaborate, connect, and plan for our students. We can, through our continued support of Dr. Z and Mr. T, build an autism program that continues to expand rigor, presence, and voice at Disney Elementary for autistic learners. We are very proud of our sensory room at Disney. We spent the last year and a half researching, designing, constructing, and implementing a pilot program at Disney Elementary. Early data suggests some exciting progress towards increased regulation states in our students. In addition to that, we also are encouraged to continue to expand the use of our space to include more students, including students from our general ed population, in the next phase of our pilot. Over the summer, our special area teachers, our phys ed, art, music, and library requested time to adapt their content area curriculum to better meet the need of all students at Disney. Throughout the design and implementation of their work, we have found best practices in special education, the utilization of visual schedules and defining expectations bolster success for all of our general ed students in these content areas. We are very fortunate that these 4 individuals work with us regularly and in our building with our students, and we're seeing the advantage of their work. Our team is starting to think about implementation of related services and associated therapies differently. Our related service providers are being innovative in their service delivery, increasing push-in time to better support our students, model interventions, and assist in training SRPs in a variety of strategies related to their individual disciplines. Administering related service in various unique and innovative ways allows us as staff to benefit from a more comprehensive view of student skills in many contexts. Our music therapy support through BOCES expanded from a half-day program to 2.5 days. Jen Carlenius, music therapy from BOCES 2, works with our teachers to make curriculum connections and individualized supports for our students. Many autistic students benefit from multiple avenues of learning. Music, instruments, song, and voice oftentimes can assist some of our students in making connections and increase their use of language. We are committed to seeking additional opportunities, such as field trips, to generalize these skills we are teaching our students in a variety of locations. In addition to our students and families, we are given the opportunity to practice those skills and experience success in the larger community.
Our team is currently working with professionals from BOCES to participate in vertically aligning our program's literacy development. We know our elementary program has placed a heavy emphasis on the science of reading over the last couple school years. We are working hard to identify and implement scaffolds and an appropriate level of rigor to increase the literacy output of our 611 program. Planning for Neurodiversity Awareness Week in April is underway. We are in our 4th year of celebrating and advocating for our autistic community. Members from the 611 team provide important facts and information to our students and staff about autism. Over the last few years, we've introduced Abby, Sesame Street's first autistic resident, to our younger students. We've read children's books about autism with all students and staff at Disney. Our school community has learned about the neurodiversity symbol and its meaning, and we've also dedicated a lot of time to answering questions from students and staff regarding autism. Professional development and collaboration with our colleagues in administration have allowed for push-in opportunities for our 611 students. For the first time ever, some of our students join in with their general education peers for community circle time, science, and social studies lessons. We continue to build an inclusive community by generalizing our students' skill through peer and adult interactions.
I once again have the pleasure of showing you a look into our 611 program. Gage Chile is committed to strengthening equality and inclusion so that all students can learn and grow. Here at Walt Disney, we take this commitment to heart. It is our duty to continue to fight and advocate for inclusive and supportive spaces for all. This commitment is clearly shown in the above pictures. The pictures to the left are taken from our newly developed sensory room. Our neurodiverse population have significant sensory needs that directly impact their success and independence within the school setting. It is important and imperative to target and assist our students in their sensory needs to better prepare them for their learning opportunities and engagement with their peers. The pictures to the right are taken from our 611's program's field trip to Ontario Play and Cafe, and our program's participation in gym and swim at SUNY Brockport. Walt Disney is committed to providing additional community involvement. We strive to continue to promote our students' independence and sense of belonging both inside and outside the classroom.
So what are our next steps? As you have already heard, utilizing the sensory room for our students and the 611 population has shown great success. To add on this current success, our next steps involve expanding the capability of all staff to be able to use this resource to enhance the educational experience for the entire school. We all know that kids need movement, some more than others. In all classrooms, there is a wide range of needs, including diverse sensory needs. Our hope is to implement a plan that will help all teachers identify, understand, and implement strategies that will make their classroom more accepting, effective, and welcoming. This could include identifying kids in the general education setting who could benefit from having access to the sensory room as an educational tool. Currently, we use the zones of regulation with our 611 students. The zones of regulation is a way to correlate a feeling with a color. For example, when one of our students says, "I feel happy, I am in the green zone," they are communicating that they are happy and ready to learn. We have seen success with implementing the zones of regulation in the 611 population. We feel that expanding access to this resource to the entire student population will be beneficial to the students as well as the overall environment of the classroom, because what child doesn't need help sometimes expressing their feelings? We have already shared that we are planning a neurodiversity week. We wholeheartedly believe that educating on this topic will increase acceptance and awareness with our staff. As a team, we feel that all staff could benefit from increasing their understanding of neurodiversity. We hope to expand their awareness and knowledge of the differences in how people's brains work and promote overall acceptance and encourage teaching styles that embrace diversity. Once our staff has this knowledge and acceptance, we are hopeful that this will be transferred to the student population. We are optimistic that our Neurodiversity Week in April will continue to be a springboard to understanding and acceptance of this movement as this program continues to evolve, and our goal is to carry this through to the community at large.
A large population of our 611 students use multimodal communication. One method of communication is with augmentative communication devices. We plan to increase the presence of communication boards and augmentative devices in our school to allow kids to see these devices, to normalize and increase acceptance that all communication is valid, whether it's verbal, facial expressions, or on a device that speaks for them. This is a communication board of core vocabulary from the LAMP Words for Life high-tech communication system that many of our 611 students use as alternative or augmentative communication. This year, we have a 6-foot by 4-foot version of this board that we are going to use to teach our entire building through lessons and interactive activities, basic ways to navigate the board, use the board, and best ways to be positive and effective communication partners with our alternative and augmentative communicators. After that, we're going to unveil the board's permanent location on our playground. There, it will allow for increased awareness as well as access to communication for our alternative and augmentative communicators. We're really excited for the language and social opportunities that this board will bring to our entire building.
So as we wrap up, to continue the acknowledgement and celebration of the autistic community, specifically the students and the families in which we serve in our District 611 program, we would like to acknowledge that April 2nd is recognized as World Autism Awareness Day. Please join me in thanking our team of talented educators at Walt Disney Elementary for their relentless pursuit of cultivating an environment where all of our students thrive, both socially and academically.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all of your work and all of you being here tonight.
Before you go anywhere, I have a question. I want to thank you for putting the photos of the sensory room because I was dying to see that. So can you tell us a little bit about what's in the sensory room? I saw lights, I saw some climbing wall.
So this did take a lot of research in order to fulfill the needs of our population. The need did come from the kiddos that we're servicing, recognizing what equipment they took within the therapy space, the OT, PT space. And we also toured Brockport, which they all have sensory rooms within their elementary school. So based on all our research, we did come together with 3 main sensory systems that we're targeting. We're targeting their tactile, their proprioceptive, and their vestibular systems. What that means is we have a whole bunch of equipment, such as the monkey bars, rock wall. We have a rocker, a vibroacoustic rocker. Both that is targeting your vestibular system, just like a swing, in addition to the proprioceptive system, because it vibrates to music, which is really awesome. We do have the lighting around the room. We have a bubble tube that all kids are just completely drawn to. Our population has a lot of kiddos that seek that visual stimulation. So that has been one of our golden needed equipment for our students. We do have a crash mat and a trampoline. Again, both targeting vestibular and proprioceptive input, getting that high impact need. That helps ground them and regulate their body. In our late table. Our late table both adds to the visual stimulation in addition to the tactile stim. So we have different sensory bins there. We have some beads, some sand, other things like that, resistant putty, things like that that they can work on at the light table. Again, both targeting that tactile system in addition to the visual system. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
Well done. Thank you.
All right, that moves us forward to our Parent Square implementation update.
Hi, everybody. President Coffey, Vice President Dr. Richards, Mr. Daly, and the rest of the board. Thank you so much for giving me some time to share an update on Parent Square with you tonight. So, as you know, we announced just after the new year that we will be shifting all of our school-to-home communication to Parent Square in the 24-25 school year. What does that really mean, though? Parent Square is a communication platform. We're going to be able to communicate to all of our families, K-12, in one place. That in and of itself is amazing, but then when you add in the fact that things are automatically translated, there's text, email, and app options for communication, and for people to receive messages as they wish. That kind of adds to all of the greatness of Parent Square. So why Parent Square? Well, as you know, we have 34 different home languages spoken by our students here in Gates-Chili that represent more than 23 countries. So that was a huge, that automatic translation was a huge component of choosing to go with Parent Square. So for example, when I send a message to a family, if they've got their language set to Spanish, they'll receive the message in Spanish. They can write me back in Spanish, and I'll receive it in English because that's my automatic language. So it works really nicely like that. Back in 2022, when we surveyed families, we asked how often they access, or sorry, how they most often access information from us. And overwhelmingly, they responded mobile device. So that was a really important piece. You know, we're using our laptops every day as staff, but families are accessing information on a mobile device, so we needed it to be super compatible and super friendly in that way. And then to that point, that most used method for getting information from us was emails and text messages. So that will continue with Parent Square because we still have that option, but then there's also that mobile app. Families also shared a need for more consistency, especially between the different buildings and between levels. So that is, again, going to be taken care of. Families also wanted to be able to access progress reports in an easier way. And so we'll be able to do that through Parent Square as well. So again, that kind of sums up why and what. Parent Square, again, it's a web-based platform, but it's also an app. You can receive messages however you want, so you can choose to get them instantly, or you can get them in a daily digest every day at 6 o'clock. So that a lot of the preference of the user is really factored into this. Super important, though, as we're kind of going through this implementation, and I'll talk a little bit more about what we've been doing to implement it, really important that we don't sign up for an account just yet. There's still some things in the back end we're kind of working through, and so we want to make sure that when everybody signs up and gets their account, that it's beautiful and shining and ready for you, okay? So our implementation team, I just have to give them a huge shout out. So from Tech, Roger and Denise, from the business office, Miranda, and from the Office of Instruction, Mike Munsky. These folks have been absolutely essential to this process. Everything from the data integration to helping with training and everything in between. It's a lot of minds coming together on this one, so huge, huge kudos to them. Also our ambassadors, I think yes, some ambassadors. So we asked staff to kind of come aboard this journey with us too, and not necessarily like turnkey training, but sort of be our champions for this platform, because this really has the potential to transform the way that we communicate with our families. So it was really important to get that staff buy-in early and have people in the buildings who are excited about this. So again, huge shout out to all the Parent Square ambassadors who signed up. So when we look at our timeline, we're sort of still in that early 2024 phase right now, where we've just completed focus groups with all instructional staff and several other departments, and we're now in the early stages of training staff. We just had our third and final opportunity for Parent Square ambassadors to get trained yesterday, and that's gone really, really well. Administrators have started to get their training too, so there's that. So that really adds up to about 30 hours just of the research and the training, but really so much more when you consider the implementations team commitment to all of the work that's got to be going into all of that training and everything like that. So going back, when we look over the next several months, we're going to be rolling this out to teachers in every building this spring. We will be soft launching it with our summer learning program. Give us a nice kind of smaller test group to make sure that all of the nuances are kind of ironed out, and then full launch with our families in the fall. Some of those focus groups I mentioned, the findings from those great discussions, really all discussion-based, and it was really important for us to kind of understand the teacher experience, because teachers are going to be using this tool every single day, and I'm not a teacher, I can't pretend to be a teacher. I don't understand their experience, but I can listen, right? So I can hear what they do currently and how this tool could help them in their efficiency, but then also hopefully make their life a little easier too, having to use fewer tools. So next, as I shared, more training. Parents are going to start to hear more about Parent Square this summer, and we'll be hosting a couple of virtual demos, in-person demos, and kind of just talking about Parent Square at every turn. So lots more to come. Are there any questions? Yep.
Thank you, Eva. Can you talk about the override feature, like in cases of extreme emergency?
Yes, absolutely. So there are a couple of different ways to communicate within Parent Square. So just in a general sense, there's posts that are kind of available to anybody. There are direct messages where like you and I could actually like almost like a text message. And then there's different alerts. So those alerts override all of those notification settings because that's that most important, most urgent, vital information that we need to get to folks in a timely manner. There are some other ways to override in some of those other buckets, but as with, over communicating can be just as bad as under communicating. So it's going to be a careful balance these first few months that we have it kind of in use to find that balance, I guess.
Nope, thank you for that. I think it was I just wanted the community to know that in cases of emergency where
Absolutely.
the parent, has their settings for 6 o'clock at
Yep.
night, but something's going on, and Superintendent Daly needs to let them know, like, right then that there is that override system, which is
Yes, much in the
hugely
same way that we do now.
Yep.
We'll have the ability to do robocalls and text messages in the case of an emergency or something that's more time sensitive. In fact, we'll actually have more functionality with this new tool. So it's going to be an improvement all around.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, you answered it in your slide by having athletic coaches listed, but I did see a question posed recently asking if coaches will be expected to use it for communication with parents, so.
Yes, so that was another big need that we found. Teachers have Schoology to communicate with students, and all of their academic coursework kind of lives in there. And so actually a huge part of what we sort of discovered through our focus groups was just how much students and teachers are communicating within Schoology. And so we're not going to be taking that away for those academic reasons, but there is a student component that we will be exploring for the athletics extracurriculars because so many of our coaches maybe are not staff members, and so they don't have access to Schoology or whatever else. So right now, some of them might be using their personal email or their personal cell phone to communicate with families, and that's just not a best practice. So this will be, again, all in one place, all accessible, and so we'll get everybody trained and ready to go for the fall. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, did you have a question, Alana?
Regarding the translation, are we sure like the translation is going to be like what type of translation? Will it be like very accurately done so there's no miscommunications?
Yep, so there is it uses a Google platform to translate. The nice part about it though is that if something happens to be unclear in that message, you can always view the original text. Sometimes like you can see that option on social media where you see the original text and you see the translated text, so you can always go back and reference or use a secondary translation if absolutely necessary. Thanks.
Thank you. Good question as well. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we have our budget presentation.
Good evening, Superintendent Daly, President Coffey, Vice President Richards, Board of Education. Thank you for having me. So, going to do a quick budget update. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the budget ambassadors, a little bit of feedback from that process. We're going to talk about the expenditure proposal, the revenue plan, the propositions and board election summary and next steps. So one thing I just want to point out real quickly is that we have the budget pretty well honed in at this point. And so tonight, what we present is generally going to be the proposal that we have for the board going into the next board meeting. So with that, real quick update on budget ambassadors. We had 2 3-hour sessions on March 7th and March 14th. Initially, there were 9 individuals signed up for budget ambassadors. The first night, we had 6 people attend, 6 community members. And on the second night, we had 4 community members, so the number went down. And that's pretty typical of what we see during this process is the first night is on expenditures, and so individuals from our community want to know how we're spending the money. And then the second night is on revenues. So with that, we had very productive conversations. The inquiries that came out of the first night related to the types of accounts. So we talked a little bit about the general fund, the federal fund, the special revenue fund. The longevity of teachers, how long do our teachers, how much longevity do our teachers have in the district? And also some questions about how old our staff is, so we answered those questions. Questions about our Intro to Education program, our pipeline of GC students to potentially being educators and hopefully coming back to GC to work here in the district. And then a lot of questions about our debt service schedule. So shared a good amount of information on the debt service schedule on night 2. Interestingly, for the first time ever, we had a whole group of people that had a financial background. So there was 3 individuals who were in accounting or had some connection to finance, and so there were a lot of very good finance questions. So survey takeaways, with 1 to 5 being, so we do a survey at the end, I'm sorry, kind of stepping back. We do a survey at the end of the budget ambassador process, and we ask the budget ambassadors to answer questions about the process and also share some narrative responses about their experience. So with 5 being the best, 1 to 5 overall experience, 5, and presenters' knowledge and ability to provide clarification and context. So a big kudos to Mr. Daly, Mrs. Sanford, and Mrs. Lamb. We all worked collaboratively to do these budget ambassador presentations and share this information, and the feedback from the process was very positive. Some takeaways, some of those qualitative responses. There was a lot of good information given, but the pace was very good. Everything was presented well in an understandable way, and it was really eye-opening to see how many restrictions you work within while creating the budget. It has also made me realize how much more as a community member I can be doing to speak with government officials on how to better support our schools through funding. So talked a little bit about mandates and the restrictions that we have in terms of getting additional revenue to balance our budgets. Obviously, we're not a business, so we can't raise prices. We're very restricted in how we get money in order to support the great programs and services here in Gates-Chili. So any questions about the budget ambassador process and how that went? Overall, a very positive experience. Okay, expenditure budget estimates. So I won't read all of those things, but the budget does include many of the things that were in last year's budget. And so we're looking to maintain that programming and also enhance the programming as much as possible given the financial restrictions. As you know, in the prior budget presentation, we talked a little bit about the lack of state aid funding coming our way for next year. So we feel really confident that not only have we been able to maintain these programs, but we're also looking for ways to enhance them even given some of the revenue constrictions. Again, a modified zero-based, no-frills budget, looking at it approximately 3.69% increase, acknowledging that last year's CPI was 4.12. It's on track to be high this coming year as well because of all the additional costs that we're seeing in the market, increasing in the consumer price index. So that's CPI. We are anticipating that that's going to continue to rise. And so we do feel that we have a good plan for managing those costs and the programs and services. These are some highlighted cost increases. ERS salaries, this is tied specifically to our estimates of what we're going to pay for our support staff employees. TRS salaries, this is tied specifically to our staff with teaching certificates. Health insurance for active employees, acknowledging that health insurance costs continue to rise at a tune of 8 to 10%, depending on the plan. This particular increase is lower than 8 to 10% for the cost of a health plan because many of our newer employees, or I should say all of our newer employees, are now on the high deductible plan. So that helps us project a slightly lower increase. Operations and maintenance, we're seeing significant increase in costs in utilities, and we do anticipate that that will continue to rise going into next year. Security, we've made some enhancements in terms of security, not only infrastructure-wise, but also with staffing. We're working on hiring a security supervisor, which will be a brand new position to the district. Pupil services, I should say, just a general increase to services and personnel, and then transportation services, again, we're seeing those costs are on the rise. And so we're making sure to present a budget that covers costs in that area. So those are just some highlighted increases. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what's called the three-part budget. The state requires us to break our budget into 3 parts. And so the first part is administrative. Looking for, the proposal includes a slight decrease generally tied to a recoding of some BOCES costs out of that central services line. The other costs on this slide specifically all fall in line with what we would anticipate. This is the programmatic component. Many lines there. As you'll see, a lot of the changes have to do with moving people around to the proper codes where they're currently at, because we move staff to different positions in different buildings depending on where the need is in the district specifically. So always trying to come from a needs-based approach. And then some other changes, one of them being professional learning for staff. That's going to be a big focus of ours going into next year. Capital, the first line there, central services, operation and maintenance costs. We are anticipating a increase there as talked about in the highlighted cost increases slide. Again, those electricity and gas bills, we do anticipate those will be higher. A transfer to debt service, this is normal for paying our principal and interest payments on our debt service, which is like our mortgage payments. Some slight change to employee benefits costs, and then the estimate of real property tax refunds. We do anticipate next year that there will be more challenges to people's assessments, because from what we're hearing, there's going to be a reassessment. And so we will have to refund some people's taxes if they win when they challenge their taxes. So the 3-part budget is broken up as so, which is pretty typical with how this is broken up in the state. This is our per dollar expenses. Most of our budget is spent in salary and benefits. The recommendation is consistent with what it has been in prior years. Any questions about that? Okay. Now we're going to talk about a general revenue plan, as we don't have a state budget approval yet. From what we're hearing, the budget will be a little late, hopefully not too late, but once we get state budget numbers, we will do what we've done in the past, which is use our relief valves, which are our fund balance and reserves, to cover any budgetary gap. So generally speaking, that's the expenditure proposal, and don't anticipate that that will change between now and budget adoption unless there's something significant that happens in terms of revenue. Any questions about that? Okay. So budget propositions and board elections. We have the expenditure budget proposition, the bus purchase proposition, and then an energy performance contract proposition, whereby we'd be asking the public to approve 10% in aid I will go over that in a little more detail because we haven't talked about that before tonight, other than through the Finance Facility and Audit Committee, which has talked about it on a number of occasions, and we have reported out at prior board meetings, is that we're looking to put out a proposition for not to approve an EPC because an energy performance contract does not require public approval. We could create a EPC and move forward with a project. In that event, the reason why we don't need public approval is because energy performance contracts are covered entirely by state aid and also NYSERDA grants, so there's no local tax impact. However, state regulations say that in order to get an additional 10% in aid on an energy performance contract, you have to have public approval. And so we feel that it would be remiss of us not to ask the public for that additional 10% through referendum. And so therefore we need to put this referendum on the ballot. So on the agenda for tonight are both an approval for an environmental review component and also to approve asking the public via proposition at the May vote to approve that 10% in aid. This project specifically is looking for solar enhancements. As you know, at the middle school, we have solar panels on top of the middle school, and we have some infrastructure that stores energy. We'd be looking to do something similar in different locations throughout the district, and we would especially be looking to offset our bus charging costs because, as noted earlier in the slide on the expenditure side, that energy costs are on the rise and they continue to increase at double-digit percentages. So we would like to use solar down the road, although the whole plan would still need to be developed. We would ask the public to approve, and then we'd start working on developing a plan around that. We would look to develop that plan in a way to help us offset those energy costs, because we know that they're going to, not only are the costs on the rise, but also we're going to be using a lot more energy to charge buses. So any questions about that? Okay, so Board of Education election, 4 seats available. As listed up above, petitions are due to the district clerk by Friday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. In summary, we're looking to continue to support district goals, which are now in the room. Enhance current staffing and programming, and continue to provide multiple opportunities for student engagement, which is always big because we know when students are engaged, they're more successful. Next steps, we would anticipate adoption of the budget on April 16th in order to meet our deadlines to get it on the ballot. The board, again, the Board of Education petitions are due April 22nd. We have a budget hearing on May 7th, meet the candidate night on May 9th, and then the vote May 21st from 6:30 to 8:30, 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Any questions or thoughts? Anything you'd like to share? No? Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well. But you're not leaving yet, so. All right, that moves us on to consensus items. Can I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda? Can I have a motion? Ms. Littlewood? Ms. Jennings? Any questions or concerns? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve consensus items C through I? Can I have a motion? Dr. Richards? Ms. Kais, thank you. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Vote is unanimous.
Just want to acknowledge that we just accepted the retirement for Dr. Lisa Buckshaw, who has served this district as an administrator for the last 18 years. She'll be retiring at the end of this school year, and we thank her for her 18 years of service to this district and wish her well. She's a community member, so hopefully she won't be going too far.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us forward to action items. Can I have a motion to approve attached corrective action plans for the 2023-2024 Internal Audit Corrective Action Plan, or CAP, and the 2023-2024 Internal Audit? Can I have a motion? Ms. Jennings? Ms. Littlewood, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the seeker resolution? Can I have a motion? Ms. Jennings, Dr. Richards, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution to authorize state aid energy performance contract proposition? Can I have a motion? Ms. Littlewood? Ms. Jennings, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the agreement between the CESA and Superintendent of Schools? Oh, CSCA, the letters were organized. Got it. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Can I have a motion? Ms. Kais? Ms. Jennings, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. And that moves us on to superintendent comments.
So we are less than 2 weeks away from the total solar eclipse, and yesterday, the Eclipse Ambassadors hosted another event to get our community ready. The Eclipse Fun Fest was held at Spartan Stadium on our track yesterday evening, and it featured a planet run, telescope sky watching, catapult plinko, chalk art, and a food truck. And a reminder that our campuses will be closed on Monday, April 8th for the eclipse. All access to district schools and property are closed. Our security staff will be stationed at our entrances to remind people. Congratulations to the cast and crew of The Addams Family on a spectacular production this past weekend. I attended the Sunday afternoon show along with many other families and staff members. Thank you to the students for sharing their talents with our school community and to the many staff members who helped to make the show possible for our Spartans. As we wrap up Music in Our Schools Month this week, we invite you to attend the District Choral Concert tomorrow at 7 p.m. and GCPAC. As always, if you can't make it live, you can watch those performances on the GCPAC YouTube channel. Our middle school art show is wrapping up within the last hour. Congratulations to the many Gates Chiley Middle School artists whose work was on display in that show tonight. Earlier this month, Gates Chiley students attended Rock to Change at BOCES 2. You'll remember our students hosted this event for their peers from 40 different schools last year. Again this year, our student leaders came together to promote positive change. Seeing and hearing our students in action certainly resonates with all the work we have done over the last 5 years in our district. I want to remind everyone to wish good luck to all our spring athletes as the regular season for JV and varsity have started, and our modified athletes are trying out this week, starting yesterday, so good luck to them as well. Tonight we've talked about Eclipse ambassadors, Parent Square ambassadors, and budget ambassadors. Last week we completed 2 nights of educating our budget ambassadors and had excellent dialogue with those that attended. A big credit to Dr. Ball and his team for doing an outstanding job explaining everything that goes into developing our school district budget and how it impacts students. The feedback has been very positive due to the great job that they did together. As far as board candidate packets, a reminder that information packets for those interested in running for the Gates Chiley Board of Education are available in our administration building. Completed packets are due back to BOE District Clerk Mrs. Brown by Monday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. And it looks like things are going to change yet again for teacher and principal evaluation. We have been told they will be revamping the APPR process. The heads of the Senate and Assembly Education Committees support the proposed changes from NYSET, SANES, NSBA, NISCUS, and UFT to give local control back. We shall see where this final legislation is, but this is a good news when we're getting some more local control back. And then we learned that there's been a redistricting for our district for state representation. The Monroe County School Boards Association recently made us aware of updates to our state legislative representation and shared the following. Our new reps are in the Senate, Helming and Ort, in the Assembly, Jensen and Clark. So some more people to work with to make sure we get all that our students deserve. And finally, I'd like to congratulate Gates Chiley Middle School Principal, Dr. Lisa Buckshaw. After 18 years at GC and 33 years in public education, Dr. Buckshaw retired at the end of the school year. We wish her a fulfilling and well-deserved retirement. And I also hope everyone has a restful spring recess. Spring break begins for us this Friday, March 29th, and runs through Monday, April 8th. Remember, we are closed on the eclipse on April 8th, so we will see all our students when classes resume on April 9th. And we hope all of you get to enjoy that time off with your family and friends, and go Spartans.
Thank you. Can I then have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Ms. Littlewood? Dr. Richards, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Have a good night.